So now something I want to get into now, since we're going to start our attacks with the near side hip and the leg drags and all the back attacks. I want to explain to you what the hips on a person's body are doing and what we're manipulating their body to do. So lay down, Tammy. You just face this way. So, yes, what I want you guys to see is her knees. Every time, notice how when I swept her, I brought her knees to her chest, right? So every time I'm doing a back kick, my goal is to keep her knees on her chest, like so. Now, every time I try to bring her knees to her chest, what is she going to do? She's going to remove her knees from her chest, right? So every time she removes her knees to her chest, that means that I can attack a pass. Why can I attack a pass? Because for me to pass somebody's guard, there's a box here. I always make the example of in baseball, when you watch baseball, the box, like with the strike zone box. And this is the pass zone box right here. When she keeps her knee to her chest, notice how this is closed here. So I can't pass her box right here. But when I bring her knees to her chest to attack the back, and she defends that, what just happened? The box opened up. So I want you guys to really notice how this one simple concept is what's happening when we pass our opponent's guard. Okay? And again, like I said, whenever you go to pass their guard, what are they going to do to defend? This. And when this happens, that means I can take the back because her hips are exposed. So every time I go to expose her back, she defends this. Now I can pass the guard. Every time I go to pass the guard, she defends bringing her knees to her chest. Okay? So my goal is going to be manipulating her in either or concept. And I'm going to explain how we're going to do that. But this is the first concept that is very important. When I bring her knees to her chest, she goes against. When I go against, she brings her knees to her chest. Right? And then what we're going to get into is the alignment of her spine and how manipulating her spine one direction alters the strength in her connection of her knees to her chest. Okay. Okay, so now lay down again. This one. So now what I'm going to explain is how you're going to feel that when I try to take her knees from her chest, be strong, bring your knees to your chest, strong, I can't, right? It's hard. But when I alter her spine by manipulating it this way, notice what's going to happen to her strength in this leg. So keep your knees strong to your chest. Now look. Look how her knee goes off of her chest. Why is this happening? Because when I alter her spine, she loses the strength in her body to keep the connection of her knees to her chest. So always when we're doing anything, a pass, anything, where we alter their head one way, we alter their hips another way, we're shutting off their strength in the brain to send signal to their body to be strong in a spot. We're altering their spine. So whenever I'm doing leg drags or berimbolo, I'm always trying to alter her spine in order to accomplish the goal. Because I want to take her knee away from her chest. That's my goal right now. She's strong right now. Be strong. I can't do it. Like, it's too hard. Keep your knees like this. Yeah, I can't do it. But look, when you go here, now keep strong. No matter how strong she is here, it's very difficult for her to stay strong because of her altering of her spine here. Now it's very easy for me to move her knee. Okay? So, why am I explaining this to you? Because when we're doing leg drags, what is my whole goal? My whole goal in a leg drag is to bring her hips this way, placing this back leg on the floor this way, and keeping her body this way. This alters her spine. And like we just learned, this compromises the strength in her connection of her knee to her chest. So if she wants to stay strong here, it's a lot more difficult than if she wants to stay strong here. You see, it's a lot more difficult when she stays strong here. But here, it's so easy for me to move her leg. Okay. And so all I want you guys to think about now is when you're doing a leg drag, you're always altering her hips one direction. And then I can manipulate her spine. Square might be difficult because she's going to keep her knees on her chest. But when I bring her one direction, it's way easier. Okay, so going with the concept that we just learned with the knees to the chest and how to alter the knees to the chest, I'm going to explain to you my leg positioning in the leg jack and my initial bottom leg and what it's doing and how we're going to alter the spine so we can remove the knee from the chest, okay? So I'm going to actually start this way because I want them to see this way when I do this. So when I'm here, I have the knee to the chest like we just learned. Chest, lift up, keeping my elbow above her foot. Now I can drag her leg. I go on my side. I get here. Now once I get here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter this hand from this grip to the knee like this. And notice, I'm using my elbow the same way as before on this, but the reason why I'm on this part of her leg, when I do a leg drag, I want to remove the knee from her chest, pulling. And this part of her leg is way easier for me to pull than if I'm going to pull this part away, bring your knee to your chest. It's harder, you see? But if I'm on this part of her leg, I can push, and then I can pull the lower part of her leg. So that's why I'm switching my hand to this part of her leg and on her knee. Using my elbow the same way so she can't pummel her leg in. If I'm lax here, just pummel your leg in. And circle your leg in. Yeah, she can circle her leg in. But when I'm like this, now circle your leg, I can keep it from circling in. So I have the X. What I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately place my knee under her hip like so. And my foot is going to be on its side. The reason I'm putting my knee under her hip is I'm connecting my hips to her hips, just like the rules of Berimbolo. And this enables me to put pressure with her knees to her chest like so. If I didn't do this, back away from me, I have to keep pulling myself in. When I do this, back away from me, look how she's stuck. She's sitting on my lap now because of my knee being under her hip. So it's just like the basic rules of Berimbolo, keeping my hips connected to her hips. This bottom knee enables me to do that. So I'm in the X, I get here. I switch my hand to this knee, I bring my knee under her hip. Now I can push her knee to her chest using my leg drag hook. In this series, you will learn that there's two different types of hooks. There's a leg drag hook, there's a crab drag hook. Then there's a combination of both of them, which is an X hook, which is a crab bite hook and a leg drag hook combined. Okay? So right now we're in the leg drag hook series, and I'm hooking, and I'm connecting my hips to her hips. Using my bottom knee under her body, I'm keeping my elbow open, keeping her knee stuck to her chest, and I'm pushing her knees to her chest. So let's choose sides. Here, I push her foot to her chest. Here, I drag. I go on my side. I get here. Now when I'm here, all I'm doing is I remove my foot here, under. I put my hand to her knee, like right below her knee, so my elbow could accomplish the same thing as here, here. Then I bring my knee under her chest. Notice, my elbow is still closed, because the second I open my elbow back away from me, it's hard for me to pull myself in. When I close my arm like this, back away from me, look how I'm able to keep her body, her hip, pulled in with my arm. I have the grip under her knee. My other knee is below her hip. Back away from me. Like move your shoulders back. Yeah. It's very hard for her to back away from me. She'll be pushing me. She'll be trying to move away. But because of my connection to her hips, it'll be a lot more difficult.
And I feel stuck here. This feels really
And my bottom foot is a side foot, pulling myself in. Again, let's just do other side. On the other side, yeah. I just want to see that foot again. Look at this foot. It's a side foot. So back away from me. I'm going to let you back away from me. So I pull myself in and I walk. Back away from me. Now I'm pinching my knees under her hip. I'm bringing her knees to her chest. And now she can't move. I want you guys to just practice getting to this position and feeling the control of the person's hips and why you're able to bring her knees to her chest. That's all we're thinking about now. It's just doing this. Here, here, knees to chest. Using my hook on her knee like this. Okay, so I just explained our first leg positioning in these leg drag exchanges with the leg drag hook and the near side hook. Now, I'm going to explain how we're going to accomplish the goal that I explained before of the leg drag and what our main objective is in doing the leg drag. Okay, so lay down. So again, back to her laying down. I think it's so important to visually understand what's happening in a leg drag because all the leg movements, it looks kind of like people say leg spaghetti or random, and it's really hard to understand what's exactly happening. But again, like I said before, we're altering the spine one direction, so it's easy to remove her knee from her chest. Now, the problem is when I alter her spine in one direction, her knees could still open and move. And once her knee opens and moves, her legs could pummel in, and you lose the connection in space of her legs. So our goal is not only to alter her spine in one direction, it's to isolate her legs in a way where they can't move back. They're stuck in a straight line, like a straight bar. So if I had like a stick, I could put it under her legs and move them to the floor, aligned with each other. Now I could remove the knee from her chest, if that makes sense, okay? So I want you guys to think of a leg drag like this. I'm going to hook her leg and just move this way. And I'm going to place my knee under her leg like this. When I place my knee under her leg, I want you guys to see how her whole, and I'm flexing my foot. I want you guys to see how her leg is stuck on a bar. You see, she can't open it, she can't close it. It's stuck on a bar. And now I'm able to do this, moving her to one side. And it's still stuck the same way. They're connected to this bar and she can't move them away. Okay. So the first drill I'm going to have you guys do with a leg drag is just this. You're going to be in a leg drag here. And I'm going to just put my knee on top of both legs like so. I'm going to pull her knees down to the floor. And I'm going to just come up like this here. Okay? So I'm going to be in a leg drag like this. I'm going to connect my knee to her knee like this. Once I do this connection, I'm going to grab the collar. I'm going to take out my back leg that was pushing her knees to her chest. Once I take out my back leg, there's nothing blocking her now from putting her knees to the floor, right? Before, if I want to put her knees to the floor, I can't because my knee is here. But because my knee is here, I'm able to keep her hips in, and I'm able to keep her knees to her chest. Now, once I connect my knees here, what I'm able to do is I'm able to move her leg down the line here. Now I can grab the collar and come up here. So again, I'm going to be in a leg drag here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to just put this leg on top of my knee like so. I'm going to grab the collar. I'm going to take out my bottom knee. And I'm going to come up like this, keeping her legs attached to a straight line. And it's so important. This foot, it's like a De La Riva, keeping her knee from moving. It's keeping her legs stuck in one spot. If I didn't have this, her legs would be moving. They would be pummeling in. So I'm going to be here, Tammy. And I'm not going to flex my foot. Pummel your leg, like move this leg. Like move it around, like in, like this.
Oh, okay.
You see how she can pummel her leg? Now move your leg. You see how it's stuck? It keeps her isolated in one line. So my foot is flexing on her knee, and I'm here. My knee is connected. I back my knee up. I connect my knees. I connect her knees to this straight line, keeping her knees to her chest. Now I can grab the collar, and I can put my elbow on top of her leg, and I can come up. Like so. Or I can come up on top. But if I can get my elbow on top, I can close her hip more, right? Altering her spine. So again, we're here. My knee is under her hip. I'm going to drive the leg. I'm going to put her knees like so. I'm going to grab the collar. I'm going to take out my bottom leg. And now I can come up. Here. I'm here. I have the grip. I connect my knee on top. I take out my back leg. I put my elbow on top of the leg. I come up. And when I come up, my foot is still flexed on the side of on her knee. So she cannot bring this leg or move this leg. You see? So she can't bring her leg or move it at all. If it was lax, she could pummel her leg. She could push me. But the second I do this, try to move it, it makes her leg stuck. So now I'm here, and I can close both her knees. Here. I bring my knee in, I connect here. I connect my knees on top. I remove my back leg from the floor. I remove it, walking on the side of my foot. I grab the collar, my elbow on top of her knee, and now I come up. So getting the leg motion is like this. I have the elbow, I have the knee, I connect it to the straight bar. I think of this as a straight bar. My knee and foot flex. I control the elbow, I take my knee out. Now I come up. Okay guys, so now that I explained to you the major goal of a leg drag, keeping the both of her legs on a straight line. Now I'm going to explain the first basic leg drag that you will learn. Now, the position I showed you with her leg locked on my leg. This is a very good position, and I used it a lot, but it was more to explain to you how to keep her leg stuck on one side. And what we're going to do now is you're going to learn that in a leg drag, when we use this part of my leg to keep her leg stuck, what we're going to use now is my ASIS, which is this bone right here. It's going to take the place of this knee here, of my knee. And it's going to take the place in a way that I keep her leg stuck in that line, just using this hip bone here instead of using my knee. So now I'll explain. So I'm here. I'll get to the position. I'll be here. I pull the leg up. I get here. I get the grip. I pull her leg. I go here. I go here. I go on my side. I end up here. Just like before. I'm going to connect my knee inside her body to keep her hips stuck in. And notice, my foot is hooking her knee, and it's closed. I'm closing my knee here, like so. Now I'm going to get the knee grip just like before. But instead of doing this, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to push her knees to her chest. I'm going to take out my back leg. So I walk the side of my back foot out. I'm going to now drag her leg. Remember what I said before. When I have this grip on her knee, outside of her leg, it enables me to drag her leg. If I was here, I could drag, but it's harder. Bringing you to chest, yes. But when I do this and I push, I could drag her leg. So we bring her knees to her chest. I take out my back leg. I drag her leg. And I'm going to now bring my body up and connect my ASIS. I want you to think about connecting this particular bone on your hip that you learned from the De La Riva series in the beginning. In the first DVD. This bone right here, you're going to connect to her leg here. And now what is going to happen? My foot is flexed. And now I'm keeping her leg in a straight line, just like this before. Because now I can bring her body this way, once I have the bar connected. So now I'm using this, I connect my hip to her body like so. Now, what I want you guys to see is, and why a lot of people lose leg drags. When they open their elbow to come up, like this, notice how I lost the connection of my hip to her leg. Now her knees will come in. And I'll lose the pass. If you just focus the whole time on keeping my hip connected to her leg like so, you won't lose the leg drag because her hips can't come back. So I have the straight line, I'm here. I took out my bottom leg. Now I can stretch her knee to the floor like so. And when I stretch her knee to the floor, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reinforce this gap I created in her body. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that by grabbing the collar, and now my elbow can keep her hip open. I already made the space for me to pass her guard. Just like I explained, the strike zone. I made the box for me to pass. And when I grab her collar and I close my elbow, I'm reinforcing that space. Now, I'm keeping my hip connected. I'm turning my knee on her hip like so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a technical stand-up, basically. I'm going to stretch my leg a little bit, keeping the flex in my foot. I'm going to bring my head to her ribs like so. Because what this is going to come down to me passing her guard. Just like passing on top, it's always a fight of her elbows. If her elbow's in, versus opening her elbow. For the first leg drag, I'm going to be passing her guard, opening her elbow. And I'm going to get my head below her elbow like this. Every time her elbow is in, she can connect her elbow to my chest, bring your body to my chest, and frame. And now there's a frame here, and every time there's a frame here, her knee can come open. So when I get my head below her frame of her elbow, close your elbow now, she can't. Now there's no frame on my body. So now I'm free, because my hip is connected to her body. I'm free to come up now on top. You see how I come up? All I do is I post on the side of my foot that's on the floor, here, my back leg. I put my foot from side feet to live. I post, I go like this, and I'm balancing on my head and my arm that's grabbing here. My arm that's grabbing here, my head, and the side of my foot that's here. 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 So I can make my hip, my head here. All I'm going to do is go on the side of my foot. So side foot to live, which is on my toes. Here, on my side, live. I can get up now. Now look how I'm on my knee. So all I'm doing is going to my leg like this. Now once I'm on my knee, here, now I'll stretch this leg and bring her leg to the floor to reinforce this connection, because her defense is going to be bringing her knees to her chest. And she can accomplish that if her hips square, because she'll be stronger. But if I can keep her hips this line of her body, and I drag, now bring her knee to her chest. It's very difficult because her spine is altered. Okay? So my head is under her body. I'm like this. Now my head can come to this side of her body, and now I can control the hip or the back of her head, whatever I want. And again, notice my knee is pinching her hips, because I'm keeping her hips isolated this direction. My ASIS is at all times connected to this leg, and I'm keeping her hip, her body, in a bar on the line of my body. This is the same as this. It's exactly the same. My foot, the whole body mechanics. Except I'm using my hip, this bone on my hip, I'm connecting to her leg, and I'm using it the same exact way. Now I can grab the collar, reinforcing this gap. I can control her hip any way I want. Right now we're keeping her elbow open. I can get under the back of her head. And now I can pass the guard here or here. Again. So I want to do this. Now instead I'm going to take out my bottom leg. I take it out. Keeping her knees to her chest. Now I have a gap to drop her hip. I'm going to drag her leg. And when I drag her leg, I'm going to bring my chest up and connect my hip like so. Bringing my head to her ribs. Keep it. Now her elbow can't come in. Now once I do this, I grab the collar. And all I want you to focus on is keeping my hip on her leg. If I lose that connection, she can defend. So I'm going to keep my head like so. Now my side foot's going to come up like this. Now, you notice how I'm on my head, my shoulder, and my foot, and my knee. You see, so I'm using my whole body to post. Now I can stretch. Once I stretch, I can bring my head to this side of her body, controlling the belt, or the back of the head, or double collars here. There's so many grips I could do here. But for now, let's just stay back of the collar here, keeping her elbow open. Now I bring my head to this side of her body, and I can pass her body. Here. Okay. So I bring her knee to her chest. I take this out when I'm ready to go, because I'm pushing her knee. And usually I make an action-reaction type of position. I'll push, waiting for her to push back. When she kicks back is when I'll go, here. Now I connected my hip to her leg. Look how the connection is. It's like so. Now I have the straight bar on her legs to bring her body this way. And once I have that connection, I grab the collar to reinforce the gap in her body. I can bring my head now to her ribs. So I scoop my head under her ribs. Now I come up. Once I come up, I bring my head to this side of her body and make a pass to guard. Again, this foot keeping her hip stuck on this side of her body. So here, my knee is under her head. I take out my back leg like so. I drag and I connect my hip to her leg. Once I connect my hip to her leg, I reinforce it, bringing my head up to her ribs. Here. Now she can't close her elbow. I grab the collar. Now I'm going to use the side of my foot to pose to get on my knee. Now I can come up. And I can pass the guard. And I bring my knee under her body. Drag. I come up. Knee under the body. Pressure. Drag. Collar. Head to her ribs. Posting my feet on the floor. I come up. Guys, when you're drilling this move, I want you to drill it like a cookbook. I'm giving you each direction. Just follow the exact directions. And then I want you to think about the concepts I'm talking about. But when you're first practicing it, think about each direction. Like a cookbook. Like step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay? So we're here. Step 1 from what we drilled before. Getting to the spot. I get her down here. And then getting my knee under her hips. We get to this spot. Getting my hand on her knee. The next step, right, is hooking and keeping her knees on her chest stuck to a straight bar. And how I'm going to do that is taking out my bottom leg. Now I can connect my ASIS to her leg, like so. Now it's a straight bar on her body. My foot still flexed. I bring my head to her ribs, like so. I grab the collar. Now, once I grab the collar, notice my elbow is keeping the gap of her knee to her chest open. Because once my elbow's here, it reinforces this. I grab the collar. I bring my head to the ribs. I post my foot on the floor. It's on the side. I put my toes on the floor. Now I can post up. I can stretch the leg. I can move my head up her body. I can grab the belt. And I can pass the guard like so. Here. My knee is under. I drag. I grab the collar, my head. Come on. See inside. Here, I take out my knee. And notice, when I'm using this near hip grip, I'm able to alter her hip doing this. And when I do that, that helps me connect my hip to her hip. My ASIS to her hip. So I pull, I drag, and I connect. I pull, I drag, I connect. Once I have the connection, my head goes to the ribs. So I connect, my head goes to the ribs. I grab the collar, elbow protecting this hip, closing this hip. Like so. Head here. My side foot's going to go live. I'm going to go on my knee now. Once I go on my knee, I can stretch my head, and I can come up. Again. I think that what's going to be hard at first is getting up here, learning how to get up. And all I'm doing, just pay attention to my legs and my head and shoulder. All I'm doing is I take my leg out, I pull her hip down, I drag her hip to my body, and now what I'm doing is my side foot is going to go on my toes. Once I go on my toes, that helps me get on my knee. And my head on the floor. And my shoulder. Look how when I'm on my side, I'm able to get on my knee like this. So I'm here. That's why palm up is really important too. It helps me balance here. Now I can get on my knee. I drag the leg. Now I can grab the collar. I'm on my knee. And now I come up, just focusing on keeping her leg on top of my ASIS here. Here. Again. Got it. So on the foot, I back up my leg. Once I back up my leg, gives me space to bring her leg down, connecting my leg here. Grab the collar, head to ribs, and come up.